That would probably be the, let them go ahead. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us and giving us some time on the schedule. We wanted to come today, David Randall's here, who's our board president and CEO of the Health Authority. And then we wanted to just show you some of the updates from the new building, the new clinic, mostly in pictures. So it's a fun update, I hope. Okay. So this is our rendering. It's a little bit different than what you saw the first time. Mainly in the signage. If you remember, the sign before was over the awning around the corner of the entryway there. We moved it up to the top of the building. After you look at these things enough, you realize that nobody would have seen that sign before unless you're standing right in front of the building. So now it's visible from 65 and also from 6th Street. We did also, that's the night vision. We also did add a monument sign here along 6th that's very visible. It has the electronic capability as well so that we can change the messaging. It's just a way to get out a lot more messaging to the people who are driving by. So we're hoping to make use of that. Okay, for the interior, if you remember this is the lobby, so this is what you'll see when you first walk into the building. And I did put concept in the title here because materials, of course, can change depending on what you can buy and what's priced right? But the colors will generally be the same. The other thing that will be prominent in this lobby area is a look at history in Jefferson County in general. That wall in the back that looks kind of abstract right now, it very much looks abstract in this picture. What it actually is intended to be will be when we get it installed is a picture. It's different pictures around Jefferson County. So it'll be like a collage of pictures, right? And then over to the right, that's not in this picture, is also going to be an art installation of local artists. So we're trying to make sure that history of Cooper Green and the county is displayed throughout the building. Okay, this next one also has a display there right at the front desk. So everybody who enters the building, patients and visitors, will pretty much go to this front desk first. That's the entry point, right? And that's where we want to display a thank you to this body, to the Jefferson County Commission, for not only the partnership that got us here, but the continuing partnership. And we hope to actually display pictures there so we can keep it fresh and relevant as well throughout the years. Okay. Moving up to the second floor, this is another look at how we're going to display history throughout the building. This is a boring part of the building, but it is one that anybody who's going to the rehab clinic will pass by. And again, those rectangular panels at the back will be a progression of Cooper Green's history over the years. Okay. This is a representation of third floor. The colors are probably going to be pretty much accurate to what they are here, but again, the materials might change. But the idea is to create a more inviting environment when you come to the clinical areas. There's glass along the whole side of that area, so there's natural sunlight all the time. There's obviously different seating options and different seating areas that patients and visitors can choose from. And then each of these areas will have a slightly different color so that if you, for example, are going to the eye clinic, it's easy to do directions. We can easily say, go to the green alcove and check in there. This first one's primary care, you can go to the blue one, right? Then moving back down again to second floor, I did want to include this one. We don't have pictures of all the clinical areas even yet, but this one is a display of rehab. I wanted to point it out specifically because this is a major improvement over what we have now. Space is actually our limiting factor for rehab services. We could see more patients if we had more space in that area. And so I just wanted to show this. Obviously, the furniture or the equipment will all be beautiful and gray and white and matchy, but the space will be larger than what it is now, like it's shown in this picture. There's also an outdoor area to do some gait training and some stepping over curves training and that kind of thing that we don't have. Okay, just quickly on the timeline, we obviously are in the construction phase. That bottom right-hand picture is what it looks like right now. We're on the third floor. The concrete for the third floor will be finished at the end of July. And we're planning to do the interior build-out start that kickoff on August 24th, so next month. Then a year from now, we'll be at substantial completion. So August of 2024 is when we'll be substantially complete. Okay? Before I touch on the strategy quickly, are there any questions about the clinic or the progress of the clinic that we can answer for you?
How many stores are we going to have?
5. And the building is 5 stories. We're going to occupy 4 to start with. The 5th floor is, nothing's going to be there yet. It's designed for growth.
The VA and all of them coming together.
Most of them are. Most of them, not the VA. The VA and the county coroner's office, they have other locations identified, but some of them are. So, for example, the crisis center will still be there. JBS will still be there. The gift shop will still be there. So most of them really.
Where's the VA people going to go?
They're going over there by the mall over there. Over there like 9 million. The new clinic. They're going over there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now I want to touch on strategy real quick. Strategy is really hard to narrow down because pretty much everything we do falls under strategy, right? So these are just a couple of highlights that you got in your packet. If you have any questions about any of these, let me know. But just to touch on some of the highlights here. These are our 4 pillars represented in the rectangles. Under patient-centeredness, we just completed at the end of June our pilot for team-based care, which was very successful. We took one of the primary care providers, their panel, and really put a team around those patients. So you're assigned, if you will, not just to a provider, but also to a social worker and a dietitian and a clinical pharmacist, right? You have a whole team. And what we found in the pilot was both our quantitative and our qualitative measures improved. So staff satisfaction and the way they work was greatly improved. And then also the health outcomes improved for those patients. In fact, they improved when no other panel's patients improved. So it was clearly related to the way that we're doing this. So our next step there is to scale it, obviously, to take this model and do it with the rest of our primary care teams. Okay, under quality of care, population health is going live this week. That is a portal that's part of our EMR product. And really what it does for us and for our clinicians is it makes it very easy to see gaps in care. So when we have a patient that comes in, instead of digging and looking if they've had all their preventative care that's needed at their age and in their state, that it quickly pops up. You can just pull it up and you can easily see that this patient needs a flu shot, a colonoscopy, and to be referred to, education, right? So it makes it much easier for clinicians to attack the preventative things they need to. Okay. Under employee focused, I wanted to call out the competencies. We have a pretty extensive program right now, starting with skills refreshers and competencies. Basically, that just means that no longer will we rely on just your license when you come to work for us as a clinician, or as a lab tech, or as an imaging tech, but we will do an onboarding competency check, if you will, and retraining as needed, right? And then we'll do those refreshers annually. We just want to make sure that everybody's staying at the top of their skills, and that it's not a one-time and done thing, that we're always refreshing and updating on those. Okay. And then under resource stewardship, I just wanted to point out some of our cost savings. We were recently able to move to a private security company to do security for our building. And it's been a great relationship with them and also significant cost savings for us. Pharmacy and rehab building is also underway right now. We have our first contract with pharmacists.
What do you want to do with the employees that are doing security?
We were using UAV, university employees. The regional employees actually came back into the county that were security when we did the transition. So we were using UAV security, and now we've changed to a private security.
And then that last one is pharmacy and rehab billing. Those are 2 areas of our services that we were not billing before. We do have about 40 to 50, depends on the day, of insured patients at Cooper Green. And so, there's no reason to leave that money on the table when we use it to expand our services. So we are doing lots of effort in getting those 2 areas billing for our insured patients.
And you said pharmacy, you are doing with the we still had an opioid clinic and all of that.
We don't do any narcotics.
Cooper, we don't do narcotics.
We do no narcotics.
So people in pain, what they do.
We refer them, we have a preferred provider, actually two of them. So we have a contract and agreement with Highlands at UAB, who does pain management for us, and also Alabama Pain. So we send them to those clinics. The reason why we do that is because they can do comprehensive care. So they can do, for example, injections and blocks that we can't do in our facility. They can do rehab, they can do lots more imaging that we can do, like MRI imaging. So we refer them right now.
So they don't have anything to do because they are low income.
Oh, no. No, we prefer them still, it's on our bill. We still need them.
So Commissioner, to that point, we were very aware of the addiction epidemic. One of the things we want to do is make sure that we can address the whole concept of pain. So to Laura's point, we wanted to do something much more comprehensive than simply a prescription. And we now have that opportunity for our patients.
But the epidemic on pain medicine is always targeted toward lower income people. But it's the tenants and the soccer moms, the ones who don't need these people.
I don't disagree with you at all, but we want to make sure that we're providing those options for our patients, those alternatives for our patients.
Okay, that's all I had to present today. Any other questions?
Go back to the front side,
Which one?
the front,
The first.
the building, the first.
Or very first slide.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Commissioner Knight,
Yes.
can I make just a quick comment? I think it's really important, again, to express our appreciation for the partnership with the commission. There's no way we could be where we are today without your support and help, and I certainly want to recognize Laura's leadership. Amazing what's happened at Cooper Green over the last couple of years. It's just even a change in culture, business practice, financial sustainability, so thank you. I hope I'm not being Pollyannic when we do this, but I think all of these changes that we're putting in place, the strategy, and even the facility. I don't know how many have walked over through Cooper Green in the last couple of years, but compare that environment to what we're proposing here is completely night and day. And we know how important the physical environment is to healing to patients. This is an environment where all of us would want to go, not just last resort. And that's what we're trying to go to. My point is, we plan on having Cooper Green developed into a way that is a national model, that is a benchmark, and how we can serve the vulnerable communities around us in a very effective and engaging way. I mean, we want the buzz to say, what's going on in Birmingham? How are they doing that? So we're excited about the progress that we're making, and certainly the strategy, most importantly, your ongoing support for what we're doing. Truly appreciate it.
Let me ask this. Saying that I know that UAB is expanding upon their own expansion, how will this project kind of follow in with that? I mean, because obviously we understand the patient portal that you have, but it's also out of that patient portal that we also experience gun violence, and we know that there's some things that are happening in terms of numbers in that area. How will that play into this project? How will that play into your current expansion project?
UAB did, and so help me from, and so when you say UAB's expansion, could you clarify a little bit about specifically what you're?
Yeah, now, in this setting, I'm trying to be mindful of how I say it, but you all are currently under a project expansion of your own, meaning UAB, correct?
Well, which project expansion?
Well, I'm talking about your ER.
Okay, yeah, okay, gotcha. Yep.
All right, so your ER, my understanding, according to news reports, are expanding on the expansion due to the number of victims that have to go through. Okay, so when we speak of the Cooper Green project, is that going to hinder, as if one has, you feel like nothing, one doesn't have a factor into the other? I treat it as two separate projects?
Yeah, I appreciate your.
Because see, that's coming from the same community.
Two things from that. One, we treat, as a UAB hat, I'll put on for a moment, expansion is really based on the demand that we currently see in the marketplace for additional emergency services. And how do we meet that demand? Because here's what's really interesting. When we looked at the patients in our ER, and we identified those patients by income, we also evaluate left without being seen. I'm not sure, talk check-in, I don't recall that, whatever. The highest percent of left without being seen, do you think they're insured or uninsured? I thought they were insured, they have a choice. They can get it from somewhere else. You're absolutely right, it's the uninsured. So if they're leaving our ER, where are they going? Hence why we absolutely have to create a much wider front door to meet that need. The third thing, based on your point, you may be aware, about 2 years ago, we also launched a community health equity and community health engagement function that's led by Bernie and Sally. We're in the communities addressing exactly what you've got: violence, social determinants, nutrition, food deserts. So we are actively involved in identifying things that are outside of the four walls. How do we engage our community different than what we're doing today? And again, Cooper Green's an incredible partner in doing that. And in fact, we are looking outside the four walls.
So UAB is doing what Cooper Green is doing now, because they the one started the group efficiency and all that.
I think we're partnering together. Yeah, so UAB started with the Live Health Smart Alabama. We're partnering with them from a Cooper Green standpoint. As an example, they have the food trucks, they have some of the health assessment trucks. We're partnering with them so we can also be there to help enroll patients for Cooper Green. So it really serves both purposes. How do we expand the enrollment and our reach, but also UAB in terms of what they're doing in the communities.
So what I'm saying is, I'm going to coin the way you said it, the demand, right? I'm going to say that. And we are taking advantage of the programming that you all are providing in terms of community services. But what I'm delicately saying is, then let me be more candid. If you have gunshot victims who probably may not be insured, and they're having to go to UAB, right? And UAB also is having to expand its ER because we have so many gunshot victims in Birmingham, right? Not the county at large, but Birmingham, since we got media, I want to be clear on that, because the sheriff is doing his part. So, that being said, I'm saying with the same pool of individuals who are a part of violent crime are also the patients that would probably be best fit or served with Cooper Green, right? And I'm asking, being that we know we're trying to get this thing up, running, and going, what are we doing transitionally in between that? Because you're dealing with the same people for the most part. Am I making sense?
I believe so. And first of all, I'm not sure what portion of the gunshot victims are part of that expansion in the ER. I just haven't looked at the patient demographics.
And they did a story on Fox 6 that talked about it as a UAB.
One of the things that we're trying to do is also have a social worker and enrollment counselor in the ER. Mm-hmm. So if I show up in the ER and I'm eligible for Cooper Green, we're trying to fast track that enrollment so we can have effective follow-up at Cooper Green, and you can create that primary care relationship at Cooper Green. We think that's extremely important in terms of just the continuity of care. And so that's one piece that we're putting in place. I think to express how we're creating that continuum of patient engagement and patient flow to the right setting. Not sure how many gunshot victims are part of any of that at this point, but I think that continuity is really important for us.
But right now, everybody who comes to the ED doesn't have a primary care source, or is uninsured, they're immediately referred to us, like in the system where we can see them. So when we see their names, we start reaching out to them then and having them enroll with us. Basically, what our sale is, you don't have to go to ED. You can come to our urgent care, you can have primary care, come enroll with us, get engaged with us, and just stay out there altogether.
So would that free up UAB from getting patients that's uninsured?
No, not necessarily. necessarily.
But y'all do have a maximum patient that y'all receive.
UAV?
That's uninsured.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so to relieve some of the uninsured coming to y'all are referring to, which I don't see nothing wrong with it. I can understand that, too. My concern is them getting care, which y'all are doing. So,
And before we were doing this, individuals may come in that were eligible, they weren't checking necessarily in the UAB ER if they were eligible for Cooper Green. And so they left without actually getting enrolled where they'd have a truly a medical home. And so when they're sick again, what do? Come back to the ER. Not the best platform for ongoing care. And so we're trying to change that dynamic with those patients.
I just left Austin yesterday, and with 115, it was just ridiculous high. But the homeless population there is just, I have never seen nothing like it in my life. It was miles of people living up under a bridge, and I seen the healthcare, I guess, RV that was riding out. I was devastated behind that. Just seeing that, and I really wanted to go, look more into it. It was too high for me to even get out the car and look into that. So I can see the concept, and I did go to a class, and they talked about the same thing in Austin.
That's the second highest referrals for us right now, besides word of mouth, just people telling their friends, is that mobile van. So when the mobile van goes into the communities, we're there with them. Anybody who doesn't have a source of care sees us next, right? And that's our highest number of enrollees right now that are coming to see us. So that's exactly what that is, that model.
But I do want to talk to you about that offline. I was being very cautious of my statement, but you're dealing with the same demographic. The point is, I just want to make sure that when they come to the ER, how are we capitalizing on that? And it seems as though you're going in that direction, but I want us to be very intentional and not accidental. You're dealing with the same demographic. You get what I'm saying? And so, I mean, when you get 1 or 2 dead folks a day, and then we're not even talking about the folks who are actually getting shot. Folks who are getting shot are going to the ER. The folk who are dead are going to the coroner's office. So they're not coming to UAB, they're not going over to Cooper Green. And that's why I said I was being very delicate in my delivery, because we do have media present. But I want to make sure that demographic is getting the level of service that we're talking about. And I want to know if your expansion would have any intrepidation on what is happening with Cooper Green. So I'm clear on what I'm saying. I'm just cautious in how I say it.
We really hope that our clinic will be more appealing to them, because that younger crowd, they're the hardest ones to get in our doors. They don't think they need us yet, so it's very difficult to get them.
Let's clarify something real quick, because I hear what both of you are saying, you're sure going to the same premise. If you have someone in here that was with a serious gunshot wound, they're going to trauma unit. They're not going to the grave.
Right.
So, yeah, and they're going to stay in the trauma unit and get the best care
Yes.
that UAB has.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now,
We're the only level 1.
and what you're saying, you're going to take those that have other illnesses or other maladies or wrists or something like that and nurse them towards the clinic.
Well, yeah, and I would say we're looking at anyone that comes to the ER that's eligible for Cooper Green, we'd like to get them enrolled.
Right.
Now, it could be a gunshot victim, but they've got to go through, again, trauma, surgery, rehab. But when they're ready for a primary care relationship, we want to give them an opportunity to Cooper Green. Exactly.
But you're not changing any of
Oh,
that.
no, we would not.
And that's what I want to make sure
Yes.
of. I knew that.
But Mr. President, they don't always go to the trauma unit. That's the good thing about being a part of the same community. They don't all make it to the trauma unit, but I get it. I digress. We'll talk after the meeting. Because what I'm saying is, as long as they are being facilitated.
Yeah, we have a proactive process in place.
Okay,
to help
because
them.
if I drove up to the hospital and I'm shot, that's different than if I come in an ambulance and I'm shot. Because then the ambulance is gonna take me to Trump, depending on where I'm shot, right? But if you have people who are driving, there are different scenarios, I got it. we'll just talk, how about that? Yeah.
But that is you know, that is, I think, when we first started talking about this, that was primarily is like, we have a lot of patients going to ER. And if they do, then what? And now we've got that system, put that system in place to get them to primary care so that the next time they do get sick or something, they don't have to go to the ER. Maybe they've got care, maybe to prevent even having to go to the ER again. As far as UAB expansion, UAB's been expanding since I worked there in 1976 in Jefferson Town. So every time there is. But when we had this, when we closed the hospital, it was a very tough decision. And we realized that with the funds that we had and the building we had, we could never transform that into a first-class hospital. But we always had the vision that we could have a first-class clinic. And my goodness, that, what I just saw right there, that vision is coming to fruition.
Yes, sir.
And thank y'all for coming and sharing that with us, because I am pleased with the progress. I think it's good for everybody.
Yes, sir.
And especially those people that utilize Skipper Green. And if you don't have to be underserved to go to see a person in that. We thought that there's, we've got a lot of partners down there. Hey, if you need health care, we're right there. So, thank y'all for
Yes,
that.
thank you, appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Let's go back to our regular agenda now, and we begin with Commission District 1.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right, for Public Works, Community Services, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee, we have no items for board equalization. We have 2 items under Environmental Services. David Dinner, would you like to speak to those 2 if there are any questions? The first is dealing with Jacobs Engineering Group. The second is Southern Research Institute.
I'll move 1 and 2.
All right, been moved.
I'll second it, but I would like clarification on Southern Research Group.
Yes, indeed.
They're privatizing that.
Yes, it's just a sewer that's on that property that's in their sort of footprint. So it's something that only serves their facilities, and so it's something we don't need to serve, the general public. So it's something, gives them some flexibility to develop on their end. It doesn't affect the entire system.
Good, thank you.
Need that.
So it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
We have no items under General Retirement System. Human Resources, we have 5 items. Are there any questions as it relates to those 5 items? And if so, Human Resources, that would be this lovely lady right here. Anyone have any questions?
Move 1 through 5.
Second.
Has been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, that carries. No items under compliance or personnel board. We have, 1 item, which is, District 1 report. We have a community grant for $1,500 for the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America. Are there any questions as it relates to that item? All right, it's been moved. Seconded. It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
I do have 1 item of new business. Okay, so on the finance, we have a thing and change, so we just want to make sure we clarify. So the law department was very helpful, and we wanted to make sure that we have all the i's dotted. You'll notice that there is only 1 word, which I said 2, but it's 1 word on there, which is within Jefferson County. And originally it was District 1, but it's in Jefferson County, so we wanted to make sure that any change was done here in this setting and not necessarily on the floor. So that's the reason why the contract itself has already been approved back in February. We wanted to make sure that we had any change. Okay,
$350,000.
And we added to that at one time.
now, well, what I'm saying is the location of where the initiatives could take place, was in District One, and that needed to be changed to say in Jefferson County.
Yeah.
And so the only word that has been changed is within.
I moved it.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. And we just wanted to make sure that everything was, in proper order, so as I see things and we make modifications. Thank you so much, Ms. Shawn, for your assistance.
You've already had good with that ring, okay?
I've already had Coop Green update. Dr. Hamilton,
I moved that.
Dr. Hamilton, can I get a second?
Second.
The first and second, all in favor, say aye. I have, a community grant.
I moved
Who
it.
died? Second.
The first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You didn't have to come back.
I'm gonna give a report, just a small report, I'm gonna give y'all a big report on this conference. Very interesting.
All right, roads and trends, got this administration, meeting. There's 7 items. Is there any of them that anyone would like to discuss? Try to understand better, see where our money's going.
I do have a question.
Give us, that's you. Push out.
He get a vacation out, he just sleep, whichever one.
We just flip it on and find out.
We got the
He got time, he got time.
Well, let me ask you, if you were unavoidably retired.
I was about to say drinking.
Where's the sheriff? I'll ask you, where's the sheriff? The sheriff and Cal are not here, right?
the two are related at all.
Heck, not, guy.
I know one of them said.
I have a question.
I have a motion and a second, we have a question.
Yes, item number 6 about this MOU, between us and Jones Valley Teaching Farm. Have we selected locations in terms of, where this agreement is going to cover? Because I'd certainly like to see some of that public education and so forth.
We haven't selected all locations, but typically they use this off 25th. But we can come to the table and have discussion on further locations.
Because there are a couple of locations in the county that they already have their own setup. We just like to see them utilize those areas too.
Absolutely, yeah, this is the first step, just to get us in the door, just to start using those locations. We'll come to y'all for suggestions and round table talk.
Good, thank you. All right, so.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
County attorney has several claims, it's like 11 claims at the minute from our July the 13th.
Approve items 1 through 12.
Got a motion second, all in favor, say aye. County manager has, since he's not here, do you want to try it, Joe? Heather, you need to run through it real quick.
At your pleasure.
All right. These are ARPA funding agreements. Any questions concerning those 3, 1, 2, and 3? Chair, let me make a motion.
What is this one for? Helena?
It is.
Okay. All right.
It's ambulance equipment. You can.
Well, I mean, I'm just asking. Is that the city, that's the Jefferson County portion of?
It is. And if you remember, that's a pull for further clarification last time.
Yeah, and this is that, where
Verified.
there's a little bit of a dispute about the fire district.
And they're getting ready to have they're getting ready to have business, got grant from the City of Warrior. Got one from the McDowell Fire District. Got ACCA appointments. And we also have one item of new business that I'll work on. Any questions on those District 3 reports?
And just for the record, Mr. President, item number 3, we had an understanding last year, and it seems as though that understanding is no longer in existence, but for the record, I asked about ACCA on last year, and so, it seemed like we keep going the same people to the same board, so I digress, but for the record, I wanted to make sure that that's mentioned this morning.
That's right. But I had a conversation with Commissioner Knight, and it seemed like we were working through our continuity, and this is something that needed to be done at a date and time certain. This is the recommendation that we put forth and we can vote on. You vote for
Y'all
this
do this in the
place,
best
you can do
interest of the county, I just wanna make it very clear
that. I understand.
that not only am I willing, but I'm more than capable, so just wanted to make sure that, you know, I acquiesced on some things on last year with the understanding that we would look forward to some things happening this year, but you all proceed as you choose.
All right, we have 1 through 3. Second, motion, second, all in favor, say aye.
Hey, it's your office handling that item on the paperwork on that.
For the water, City of Warrior, yes, we are, I think. And yeah, we got that done. Okay. We have one item, the Warrior River, they've blown up an engine on one of their boats.
Move to consideration for new business.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Move aye.
Motion,
Second.
all in favor, say aye. That keeps them, they give them an opportunity to get that engine put in that boat so they can take care of the folks down there. That concludes my agenda, Mr. Knight.
All right, finance, do we have any, well, do we have any questions on items 1 through 8? If we do, we have the most eloquent young lady sitting here to answer any questions.
I move 1 through 8.
All right. Motion. Second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We have a budget agenda amendment.
Okay, the budget agenda, it requires no additional funds, it's for EMA, and the resolution was actually approved back in February. It was where we took the revenue replacement funds, so we're just shifting the money over to their budget. There's no additional money from the original budget. Any questions?
Do I have a motion?
So move.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, on, we have multiple development on item 1, Commissioner District 1. We have a pending change, for Commissioner Scales. The $311, should be changed to $756.37. So that's just pending.
I move to.
We have a motion and a second, and if this is, have a motion and a second for all development information.
You did.
All right. Motion and a second, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. All right, Board of Registrars. Mr. Barry, are you on? You want to present this one?
Yes.
All right. I was waiting for something to come out of here.
Young people more than old, he's on top of it.
Good morning, everyone. Even though we just finished the Commission District 5 race election, we're already working on House District 55 and House District 16, so that is the reason for this change. This precinct 2420 is Bartow Arena. We've lost our parking there. The parking we had is now staging ground for further construction that's going on around UAB, so we need to have a suitable facility for the HD 55, which is coming up very soon. So Memorial Rec is less than a mile away, and we need parking, we need access, and be able to conduct that HD 55 election. also saw, this is a short-term construction project that, it's been announced that Bartow Arena, as soon as basketball season is over, is gonna undergo like a $35 million renovation. So they may not let us back, but I'm on board in conversation with UAB. They've been pretty good to work with, but they have had lots of construction going around in this area where we've been voting.
Yeah, so that's precinct 2420 relocated to precinct 2100.
That's Bartow Arena to Memorial Rec Center.
And is this a common, is Memorial Rec Center already a
Yes,
open area?
it's
Big
large,
as
yes,
the
it's large, it's got lots of parking, it's got a big gym, big community.
Now, bus stop.
Well, there you go.
And a bus stop, yeah, and we did this is actually something that we did before, because the other facility that UAB was allowed us to use in the summer of 2021, when the Birmingham mayoral election was going on, they said you can't go here because of construction then too, and we used Memorial Rec for, both the, mayoral election and the runoff in the fall of 2021.
People got confused about which door to go in anyway, because you had to go on the Sixth Avenue side, and everybody was going in on the other side.
Yeah, like I
They get
said,
lost going through there, so.
yeah, there's just been, in this particular area there on Sixth Avenue South, this one construction project after another that UAB is conducting. So we'll go back to them and try and work with them, but this is a good backup, because we've used it before, it's worked well.
And when will those special elections be held?
House District 55 and House District 16, which is the far western area, Alliance, Oak Grove area, will be September 26th.
Kyle, so.
House District 16 is mainly northern Tuscaloosa and Fayette County, but it comes into the far western area, to the Oak Grove Alliance area, and there's like 4 precincts, just a couple thousand voters in Jefferson County. It's predominantly in North Tuscaloosa and Fayette County, and that's where Kyle South was, and just stepped down. But they'll be on the same day, September 26th.
Precinct location change. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Developmental Services, Tomlin Excavating, demolition.
Demolition of 10 structures, I'll move that. Good job. Can you make it 20?
Well, hang on, well, just a
Where
minute.
those located?
They're located in Dothan.
I just want to make sure that those are the ones we talked about before.
All right, is that what I had? All right, do I have a motion second on item 1?
So
Move
move.
that second.
All in favor, please say aye. Now I have an item of new business.
So what we have,
Demolition.
the item of new business is so this evening we actually chose 2 contractors. And, the one that you just moved was, for 10 structures. And that was with Tomlin Excavating. And the item of new business, there was just a little hiccup and we needed to introduce that. That's with Greener Turf, and that's for 16, so a total of 27 properties in the, 26 properties in the Docena neighborhood will be for this batch.
Matter of fact, I'm glad that you mentioned it very quickly. Mr. President, if I'm out of order, let me know. Is Edgewater in Commission 1? Because I thought that was in Commission 2.
Well, no, it was moved, the fire station out there, the minor fire station was, now there may be,
Three or so.
a small portion of it, but most of that is the minor fire station precinct that was moved to Commission District 1. But there may be a little bit left in 3.
So I'm saying, is Edgewater in Commission 1 or 3?
I believe it's in 1,
Okay, I want you to
but
verify.
I can look that up, yeah.
But yes, ma'am. So I'm glad that we finally at this conclusion. All right.
All right, so let me just get this straight. The one we just passed is Tomlin, and that's 10 structures
10 properties.
where, and those are.
In Docena.
So we're just knocking down those things today. And then this one is 16 structures in those things.
That's right.
With a different county. All right, do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Fine.
Thank you.
Thank you for getting that done. So, that's something we've been working on for, it seems like years.
are we doing any in Robinwood?
So
I know
we've been to Docena, this is the second time we are going to Docena. Robinwood, we just finished a batch in Robinwood. It's very possible that we'll end up going back also, but between our project and the Kids to Love, work that they're doing, Robinwood, I don't think they'll have any major, they'll have a couple of properties probably, but not a major movement, in the next year.
How long does it take you to do that from inception to generally?
From the moment we identify a property to the point that it comes to you guys, through the bid process, it's about a 9-month process, and then our contractors are anywhere from a month to 3 months to get the, properties knocked down, cleaned up, and inspected.
Year.
Basically.
All right, we gotta approve for new business, now I need a motion on the.
On that.
Motion and second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Revenue, Grant Street Group.
One quick question,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
When is the project actually going to begin in terms of demolition?
They're ready to go. Tomlin has been calling us, wanting to know. So as soon as you guys vote on Thursday to approve it all, they will
I
start pulling.
frequently go down Minor Parkway and to look for, so that's my ask.
We expect them to start pulling permits next week.
Well, I go there weekly, Jim. And so.
You said you're going down my park, are you looking for
Minor
something?
Parkway, yeah, Docena is on Minor Parkway, so my point is, when should I expect for them to start tearing down?
So,
I mean, they'll start pulling permits hopefully next week, and then
So,
they'll mobilize.
let's say safely within 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say 100% for sure because our contracts give them a window,
Okay.
but it should be soon.
And they all around in the same area. Cause you know the kids there. Well, you tell them 3 houses.
all right, let's move. Revenue, Grant Street Group, credit debit, electronic payment process. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second? I'll second.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right.
I move to other business for Mr. Bond.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. That concludes my report, and I will move, Commission 5 to agenda.
I'll second.
Oh,
But, all right, any other business from before this body? County attorney? Deputy county,
No, sir.
commissioner?